The trip began in the summer of 1975. First one spacecraft, then another, launched toward Mars by Titan Centaur rockets, the beginnings of a voyage of exploration and discovery.
Viking presented a whole new picture of planet Mars. As Viking entered the atmosphere of Mars and went through the atmosphere of Mars, it made measurements of the chemical composition and isotopic composition of the atmosphere. And one of the things Viking discovered, which no one knew before, was that there's nitrogen in the atmosphere of Mars. 2.5% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. You couldn't detect that nitrogen from Earth because it doesn't have spectral lines in the spectrum that we could observe from Earth. So Viking discovered nitrogen. Nitrogen is a key ingredient in life. The second thing that we learned is that Viking made measurements of nitrogen and its isotopes. And lo and behold, we found that the light isotopes of nitrogen were deficient compared to the heavy isotopes. And this led to the conclusion that Mars lost 99% of its atmosphere over history because of the ratio of light nitrogen to heavy nitrogen. So Viking showed us that Mars lost the bulk of its atmosphere through some catastrophic event. Now, the Maven spacecraft in 2013 told us what that catastrophic event was, and it was the bombardment of the Mars atmosphere by solar wind, causing it to be lost. But Viking predicted that Mars lost the bulk of its atmosphere. Viking explained why there are features of water erosion on Mars, even though there's no liquid water today, because in the early history of Mars, Mars had a very, very thick atmosphere. Water could be stable. That water was lost when the atmosphere was lost. So Viking gave us a whole new picture of planet Mars, and at the same time gave us a new picture about the evolution of planet Earth. Viking is the only spacecraft in the history of humankind to carry 3 experiments to search for active life on Mars. 2 of the experiments gave negative results, no life. The 3rd experiment, called the labeled release, indicated that there was life on Mars, and 40 years later, we're still debating whether or not there's life on Mars.
They have framed the questions. They've designed a mission of incredible complexity. And they've dreamed and imagined and built a spacecraft even more complex. The people in this room know more than their predecessors. They've been there vicariously through earlier picture-taking spacecraft, also sent to Mars by NASA. Yet, they really know very little, and that's why they wait. They may know a great deal soon, and they're not unmindful of the importance and the excitement of what they are doing.